All right, so we're going to create a risk register here, a simulated risk register using the SIPMath tools. This is totally improv, so I might step on my foot occasionally, but the first step is to initialize the model. And I'm not going to be reading from an external SIP library or even an internal SIP library. I'm just going to be generating this using what we call virtual SIPs. And it starts by, it asks for the number of trials. We can change this later. This start variable ID is the thing that starts off the HDR generator from Doug Hubbard with a specific starting seed. We're not going to use this. We're going to specify a seed for every risk to make sure this is really auditable. When I click the OK button, it now creates a PM table sheet. This is where the data table simulation is going to take place. Go back to the risk calculator, and the first thing that I need to do is add, because I want this to be auditable, without physical SIPs. I'm going to insert a new line here, a new column, and I'm going to call this, copy the formatting there, from there to there. I'm going to call this variable ID. So think of this as an individual seed for each of these risks. And we want to make sure that in our organization, we're not using the same seed somewhere else. So seed management is a new part of the world. And Doug Hubbard is the master of that, has created these wonderful generators. What I'm going to do is I'm going to say, you know what? I'm just going to start with 1,000.
So the reason why we're doing this is that we want each risk to have an independent seed, so they're not correlated.
Totally. Yes, but you know, but some of them might be correlated, right?
Yes.
So let's, for now, I'm going to assume that these are all independent, and I'm going to start but there's something else you want. What if someone else did another risk register? Suppose this involves the price of oil, all these risks. Suppose someone else does one with the price of beans in China. And suppose the two of you use the same variable IDs. Then, remember, we can add these risks together. We can do risk roll up. But if you do that, the price of oil will be perfectly correlated to the price of beans in China. That would be a disaster. In fact, we want global seeds that everybody in the world uses for things like the price of oil and the price of beans in China, but that's another discussion. For right now, these now are our variable IDs. And let me think. I actually need 2 of them because I need them for the triangulars, and I need them for the Bernoullis. So let's do this. So I'm being a little pedantic here, but let's get this right. So I'm going to call this var ID Bernoulli, if I spell that right. Hey, I'm gonna put var ID
B
0, 1
That's a good idea.
and var ID triang. And what I'm going to do now, oh, by the way, better not be the same. So this one equals that one. Actually, you know what? I'll start this off at 2001 just to keep them out of each other's airspace. Because what if I want to add more risks to this thing, right?
Yep.
Good. to make life easier, I'm now going to go over here, and so I'm not going to use, well, just a second. I'm going to establish my uniforms first, okay? So HDR for 0, 1, and HDR triangle. So I'm going to go down here. I'm going to go to the SIPMath tools, generate uniforms. I want them to be HDRs. I don't want them to be RANDs. Oh, and the variable IDs are going to be there. Then I might just be able to copy those cells over, but I don't dare. I mean, I just, oh, wait a minute. No, watch this. If I copy, let's just copy these for a sec. Copy them there. Then if I go over here and make this 1001.
Yep, they should be equal.
We'll know that they should be the same, and if they're not, oh, son of a gun, look at that. Alex, how is that? Is that cool?
That's pretty amazing.
Okay. Now, what I'm going to do down here, let's see. So with each of these, I'm going to build this in little sort of separate
Sure.
pieces here. So what I'll do is, here's the probability, and down here, I'll do the calculations here. If that is less than that, then 1, otherwise 0. Following me?
What did you just do?
So I went off to the RAND function. I mean, to the uniform, which goes between 0 and 1. If that is less than 10%, then 1, otherwise 0. If I make this 100%, it's always going to be 1. But if I run through the trial, here, let me copy this down. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Have I done 10 yet?
That's 11. Yep.
I did 11. Okay. Tell you what, let's copy these down so I know where I am. Get rid of that. Okay, so this form is very important for you to understand. It's very, very simple. I take a spinner that goes between 0 and 1. The probability that that spinner is less than 10% is 10%.
Is it?
Are you following this formula? So whatever percentage you put in here is the number of ones you'll get here. The simplest way to develop a Bernoulli variable. You following me?
Yep.
And I can always look at trial 1, trial 2. Oh, that was real rare. On trial 2, we got that rare event. For trial 3, trial 4, trial 5, trial 6. Right? I can always do that. Okay. So it happens or it doesn't. So this means stick another thing in here. I'm going to say it happened, right? Now here's the impact. So the impact is going to be a triangular distribution.
Mm-hmm.
The minimum is going to be that. The most likely is going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
The maximum is going to be that.
Mm-hmm.
And it says you need an external random cell. And I'm saying, yeah, and I'm not going to just let it pick the seeds. I am going to go over here to my pre-established HDR triangles.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, these are not triangulars. These are the HDRs I'm using in the triangulars. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
Overwrite them all. Ka-ching. Now we look over here. Shrink it down. Good. Shrink it down a little more. Go up to the top. So the risk itself
Mm-hmm.
is just equal to
One
did
equals
it happen
yeah.
times the
Mm-hmm.
impact. Where, by the way, the expression LOF times COF, it makes sense in the arithmetic of uncertainty. Copy it down. Then, oh, so what let's do now is we're going to make those output cells.
Mm-hmm.
So define outputs. Those things are all outputs. The names are going to be risk 1 through risk 10. These names, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
must not be range names in Excel. It'll give you an error message. So I couldn't do R1 through R10. Another thing is, it must be a legal range. I'm sorry, it can't be a cell name, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be a range name. It's not going to like the blanks. It's going to want to put in underscores. So I'll get a little warning message, so it'll say, oh, do you mind if I put in underscores? I say, heck no, go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Ka-ching. Oh, now look what we have. There are risks. Then for the average, I go equals average of that. This is important.
Mm-hmm.
Over on the PM table now, I have risk 1, risk 2, risk 3.
Mm-hmm.
So I can just ask for the average of risk 1, average of risk 2, average of risk 3. The
Mhm.
problem there is I can't copy those formulas because it's got a range name in it. So we do it this. So if you want to copy them, just point to the output cell, then go up to the get stats button. So look, in this thing, I have the average of J4. As soon as I say get stats, oh, it's the average of risk 1, average of risk 2. You following me?
Yep.
Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to say exceedance. I'm going to call this exceedance.
Mm-hmm.
Like, this is a number I really do not want to exceed. And I'm going to go over here.
Yep.
I'm going to put the chance of exceeding. Oh, you know what? Let me call this a limit.
Yep.
So the chance of exceeding, what I do is, I think I can do it all at once. I select those cells. I go to the chance of whatever button.
Mm-hmm.
I select those.
Mm-hmm.
I'm worried about exceeding, so I put a greater than sign. I put in all these limits. Click OK. Boom. There are my chances of exceeding. Oh, but just a second.
Mm-hmm.
How about my total risk? The total risk is down here.
Yep. Well, it next. Is it in J? Oh yeah, so you put in the name.
That's the name.
Yep.
the sum of these, make that another output.
Mm-hmm.
Then I've got a total limit that would freak me out if this ever happened. Oh my gosh, if it gets over about 150, I am really hosed. And then I go here and I say, oh, what's the chance that that is greater than
Mm-hmm.
that? Uh-oh.
Yep.
Sorry, folks. That is greater than that.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, it's 74%. I knew that. You did too, right, Alex? You could figure that out. But anyway, for those of us who can't do it in our head, there you have it. Now I'm going to save this
Yep.
as...
Can you do, you can do percentiles in Excel.
Oh, let's do the percentile. Exactly. Just a sec.
Yep.
Let me show you how to do that.
Mm-hmm.
You see, I don't think people understand them as well. So let's do this.
Yep.
Insert. So let's write 95% here,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Equal percentile of that, comma, that with dollar signs on.
Mm-hmm.
Copy it down.
Yep.
And then get stats, and then turn them into, there we go.
Yeah, perfect.
There you go. So there you have it.